Hello, Johnny Warheads. I want to play a game. For years you have sat idly by as the Johnny Horror Show has labored in existence, merely tuning in to see if its host will undress himself, never subscribing, nor sharing, only skipping ahead to the jiggly bits. The game before you was simple. Subscribe to the Johnny Horror Show channel, or share this video with your friends. The choice is yours. Will you leave the Johnny Horror Show to rot? Or will you subscribe and share? Make your choice.
Saw X. It is the 10th film in the Saw franchise. 10th? We saying 10th? Wasn't Spiral like a spin-off and Jigsaw kind of a prequel? And this film takes place between 1 and 2, so isn't it technically Saw 1.5? Who are we kidding? This series timeline is fucked 3 ways to Sunday. The point is, John Kramer is back to fuck up some shitheads' days. In the film, we jump back in time to the events that take place between the first and second film, where John Kramer is once again out to punish everyone who couldn't cure his cancer. Blah, blah, blah. You've seen it all before. But this time, it's in Mexico. I think that's my cue to break out the tequila. Buyer beware. Some shit will be spoiled. Give me the good stuff. This is a swan song for Tobin Bell, man. I don't know how many of these Saw movies he's got left under his belt, but the man is 81 years old and just turned in his best performance as the titular character. Bell's acting chops are on full display here as he delivers the most sympathetic version of Jigsaw we have seen to date. By the end of this picture, it goes without saying that John Kramer is not only the backbone of the Saw franchise, but the heart of it as well. The traps in Saw X are savage as a motherfucker. I actually found myself squirming in my seat on more than one occasion. For example, Valentina's trap goes on for so long and it is so fucking aggressive that it is no wonder that people were saying this is one of the bloodiest flicks in the franchise. And that Mateo brain removal trap, well, it had to be one of my all-time favorites. And by favorites, I mean, holy hell, fuck that shit! Jony Smith finally gets a chance to reprise her role as Amanda Young, and hot damn, does she kill it! For all the overacting that goes on in this series, Smith has always managed to turn in a razor-sharp performance. Also, the chemistry she shares with Tobin Bell is only improved with age, and it makes it that much more heartbreaking when you remember how it ends between them. I have no doubt the filmmakers really regret doing Amanda dirty like that. Speaking of doing shit dirty, Hoffman is back, baby! Detective Mark Hoffman is arguably my second favorite character in the entire franchise after Jigsaw. So when I heard Tobin Bell and Jony Smith were coming back for more, I was really holding out hope that we would get a return from Costas Matalor. When he showed up in the post-credit scene, I will be goddamned if I did not say that shit was worth the price of admission right there. Take my money! Saw X's story really does have a surprising amount of depth and character development. This is a very personal journey we go on with John Kramer. And we see this not only in the appropriately constructed, slower and more heartfelt first half of the flick, but also once the game has begun. In previous films, Jigsaw stays at a distance. His captives are given tape recordings and video prompts as he sits in the shadows. And while, yes, cassette tapes and evil clown puppets are still present, I damn near cried tears of joy when Billy rolled out on his ridiculous fucking trike. John Kramer is fucking present during this game. Amanda Young is present in this game. Their faces are seen. They come face to face with their captives to explain the consequences of their actions, and the result is a much more impactful, emotionally driven experience for the film as a whole. Well, we got to that point. Time to talk about the shit. The movie ended. Gang, I could pick nits about how it's hard to set a film 20 years in the past when its stars look visibly 20 years older than they did 20 years before. The fact that Jigsaw really doesn't give his captives enough time on their traps. Seriously, it doesn't matter if it's 3 minutes or 10 minutes. Cutting out a piece of your brain is still a fairly arduous arduous task. Or how the bad lady, who is arguably one of the most evil pieces of shit in the entire franchise, seemingly does not die? You're gonna kill off Carrie, a good cop with a moral compass, by ripping open her fucking rib cage, but you're gonna let this evil, murdering, money-grubbing slag survive with nothing more than a sunburn? But that's all it would be. Nitpicking. Is it a perfect film? No. But it's a perfect Saw film, and that's what we're here for. Go ahead and give me that rewatch. This is a great rewatch. Unlike the other Saws, you are absolutely rooting for all of these human jizz stains to eat it. So it makes the games that much more entertaining to watch. The great thing about this talkie is that you can either end cap this shit when you do your annual Saw marathon, or if you feel like skipping some of the less desirable entries, you can watch the first one and then skip right on to this one, since chronologically speaking, it does take place right after the first. Didn't think of that shit, did ya? You're welcome! For the 10th film in a horror franchise, this picture has absolutely no business being the best movie in the series, but it 1000% is. The first flick has always been my fave ever since it blew my 14-year-old brain straight to Fucksville damn near 20 years ago, but it has now officially been dethroned. An intriguing story, a fully fleshed out narrative with great character work in front and behind the camera, not to mention killer trap scenes and absolutely no expense spared in the gore department. It's gonna be a 10 out of 10 for Saw 10 on the Jony Horror Score. Like I said, may not be a perfect film, but it's a perfect Saw film, and a game that is unquestionably begging to be played. Well, that's gonna about do it for this segment of the Jony Horror Reviews. I'm your host, Jony Horror, here to remind all you Metro police officers and rogue Jigsaw apprentices to be good to one another. Be half-decent human beings, and always remember,
Most people are so ungrateful to be alive, but not you. Not anymore. Game over.